Long, long way to find us here today. And, man, this is like hometown thing, but only 9 hours away, right?
Exactly. And a lot bigger.
And a lot bigger. Why are you here, other than being a football player and wanting to witness history at the Super Bowl 51? You'd rather be playing in the game. We all know that, right?
Absolutely. Other than that, I'm just here to hang out.
It's part of the –
Getting interviewed,
Yeah, exactly, interviewed. So what do you have to say today? What are you promoting today besides Crockett Gilmore?
Nothing. Myself.
How's your body? Feeling all right
Feel
off season?
great. Yep, feel great.
Yeah, we got 8 months for you to feel better. It's this. I think for a lot of fans, they don't realize like the off season for you guys. There's sort of a lot of time to kill, but then it starts to like creep up on you all of a sudden. You got to get back to town. You got to lift weights.
No, I've been lifting. Once I got hurt, I was lifting every day and got healthy there by the end. Getting ready to go for playoffs, and then we didn't make it, so I was healthy, but
nowhere to go.
Right. So I just kept going. No reason not to.
Right. Well, I mean, you're still in the prime of your career.
That's right.
The best days are ahead.
Absolutely.
Luke's going to ask real football questions now.
Kind of, I guess. Tough year for you. I mean, you had the success last year. I mean, there were so many people, when Owen Daniels left and not knowing about Dennis, they draft Max. But I remember talking to you a couple years ago. I mean, you've been confident from day one that you could play in this league, and you really showed it last year. I mean, you played at a high level. But, it had to be frustrating this year with some of the injuries just not being on the field.
It was the best injury I've ever had. I got to sit back. I got to learn. I got to change my attitude about what happens and what you can control and what you can't. And then I came back faster and stronger and healthier than ever, and we were just short. So I got to see the changes in myself as well as everything else that was going on. And I really got to be ready to go. And honestly, I feel better than I ever have physically, and I was ready to go. So, they make the decisions,
right?
But I was ready to go. So that's all I could do, and to be able to have the opportunity, that's all I can ask for.
What have you learned? And you just said change in yourself. What have you learned now 3 years into this thing as an NFL player that you would have told yourself as a rookie to be prepared for?
Just keep working, getting better every day. Completely changes where you are today and where you're going to be, and where guys that are taking days off and moments off and seeing an opportunity to take a day off that's my opportunity to get one up on them, and that's all I need is one, and then I'm going to start stacking those ones until I'm the best there is. That's my goal. Every day when I walk in the building or when I get out of bed or whatever I'm doing, to get up and be 100 miles an hour. So, like I said, injuries are part of it,
sure.
And I dealt with that, and I took care of that, and I'm ready to go.
I think for everybody on the team, there has to be a sense of frustration from this year that nothing got accomplished that you guys wanted to get accomplished.
We made huge strides, though, in a lot of different areas. Young guys stepped up. Old guys learned something new. Guys retired. We got better. This is a completely different team at the end of the season than we were in the beginning. We still got better every day. Did we always put it together? No, but very few teams do. But we're in the right direction.
Well, the hunger I'm talking about in the offseason, that you everyone on your team sitting around watching these guys play this weekend and knowing that you weren't a part of it. And I like the hungry part of this thing. Not that it wasn't that way when we were making the playoffs every year, but I think to the fans on the outside, this thing looks easy. The Patriots make it look easy. It's not easy. Ask them in Cleveland or in San Francisco or Jacksonville. It's not easy. But, bringing it all together, I sense a great confidence amongst you that are on the team that you're not far away.
We're not. And they continue to bring guys in like Ben and like Eric and guys that have done it and continue to do it, Suggs and those guys and Joe. We know they've won. They've had success. They know what it is, and the young guys are taking note. I think we've got a lot of young guys that are really going to help this team.
Well, when you came in, there were rings everywhere, right? I mean, and that starts to dissipate after a while. It
changed fast. I mean, after my first year, the majority of them were gone.
Yeah, and that's the turnover, that the hunger that you would have, that maybe a guy that's been up the mountain, you don't want to come to a Super Bowl and hang out with me. You want to come and play.
That's right. Yeah, there's so many things you got to look at and analyze and change and work on. And, there really is no time to take off. As much as there is time off, there's no time to take off. You're always working on something, where it's mental or physical or reading a book or tying your shoe, whatever you can work on, you got to work on it.
What are you going to be working on? What's the next? I mean, are you going to have any fun? Do you have a little other than doing this?
I'm addicted to the work, so I love that. I mean, I'll be doing that regardless if I was, back home working construction or wherever. I'm addicted to the work, so I enjoy the process. I enjoy getting up at 5:30 or 6 and working out for 2 or 3 hours and then going and running, and I love it.
Have you had a chance to talk to Greg Roman yet? I mean, he's a guy who loves the running game. I know you've talked about this. You've talked about you wish you could be an offensive lineman. I mean, you love blocking. You love that.
Well, I'd like to be a lineman that actually run blocks.
Sure.
There's a lot of guys that are disguised out there. But, yeah, you have to run the ball. These two teams can run the ball. I think that was a huge difference in being in the playoffs and not, and then winning in the playoffs. You have to be able to run the ball.
Do you get a sense, and not naming names of any coaches the last couple of years, but as an offensive lineman, and you're an extension of that. I mean, you're a tight end who lines up at the line of scrimmage. Is there a mindset that you guys want to get back to where you were a couple years ago when you were running the ball that effectively? And, it makes things easier for Joe Flacco. It makes things better for the passing game.
Well, that's the whole thing with Brady, right? I mean, they were in 2nd and 4. They were in 2nd and 2, right? That's where it's at.
And then you got to convert. We had opportunities early in the season that were 2 and 3 yards on, first down we got 9, and then we didn't do anything and we punt. That can't happen. You can't be stagnant. That's average. That's 8 and 8. That's how we got there. We have to find a way to run the ball.
Crockett Gilmore joining us here. We're at Super Bowl 51. We're in Houston, Texas. He's here for fun. I want to let's have a little fun here. Tell everybody what you did to get here, because you started to tell us about driving through flat-ass Texas and spending a whole day to drive here. Tell everybody where you live, where you're coming from. Give everybody a little lowdown.
Well, last Monday I was in Baltimore, and I told my wife I was leaving, and I drove to Texas. So that was the first.
How long does that take you?
That was 24 hours.
Did you do it straight through pretty much?
No, I stopped in Joplin, near Brandon's place, and slept for about 7 hours.
Joplin, Missouri, right?
Yeah.
I was in Joplin 2 years ago, and the remnants of the twister that came through there. Did you see any of that? The trees that were taken.
They had some statues and stuff that talked about it, but you're going by 80.
You could see where a whole swath
there used to
of
be
earth.
Something there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this looked like trees used to be there. What happened?
Yeah.
But it's very obvious, and I know he's from that part of the world. You have a great relationship with him as well. He'll be visiting here.
Yeah, and so I drove about 16 hours first day and then finished the rest, and then I got home and my sister.
Can I ask why? I mean, I know what your salary is. You could have afforded the $129 flight. I mean, you could have. Is it mind
It's as much,
or?
it's as much as a mental test. I've driven it straight through before.
What kind of music are you listening to when you're doing that?
Everything. I listen to everything. Loud. Really loud.
Says the guys with the sleeve here.
Well,
is it rock and roll or country? Because, I mean, Brandon and I are going to have a debate about
rock and roll, country, rap, old rap, new rap, everything. I listen to fiddles. I listen to everything.
You're well-versed.
Yeah.
So you drove 9 hours today?
Yesterday.
Yep.
I was in Amarillo all week and played basketball and worked out and played volleyball.
What's in Amarillo, Texas?
A bunch of big football stadiums and gyms.
That's it.
That's it.
I've never been there. I almost went to Odessa, Midland to see Robert Plant
there's really nothing there.
Oh, right. I mean, I hear that about Lubbock. I've heard that about El Paso. I've heard that about a lot of places.
Yep, that's all West Texas.
I've heard College Station doesn't. I mean, I've heard the east part of Texas doesn't have much. Outside the cities.
Nope.
You driven the whole state?
Yep.
Why? Southwest flies. It takes 30
When
minutes.
your state is better than everybody else's, you just
Oh,
want to
there
be
we go. There we go. I like it. Now it's coming
Now
out.
it's the Republic of Texas. I think is what we've got. Crockett Gilmore hanging. You done with him, or you want to grill him a little bit more?
I don't. What am I going to grill him about? This is the guy who, and I say this in a positive way. You ask him if he's motivated. He said, "I'm always motivated." You ask him if he has a chip on his shoulder. No, that's me. I'm confident. I know what I could.
There is a boulder, and I do like to carry it.
Yeah, and final year of your rookie deal coming up. This is a chance to not just show the Ravens, but show the entire league. Hey, I can play. I mean, this past year, I had some injuries, but you're going to be ready to go. I know that about Crockett Gilmore.
Let me ask you about Dennis Pitta and watching what he went through to get back on the field. I have a bromance with Dennis going back to Super Bowl year. I thought he was done. I mean, I didn't think he would play. I think most people that knew him or on the outside, I think people in the locker room didn't think he would play again. Like, I don't want to say it was a joke, but I want to say, like, in the offseason when they were saying he was still a part of it, I'm like, I never believed. And I told him that. And he said, well, nobody believed except me. Maybe Joe, maybe my wife, whatever. Of all the things I've seen over the 20 years, it's among the more courageous things I've ever seen. And now you see what happens with Zach, and you realize that it is NFL not for long. It's a finite thing. But I just look at Pitta. I don't know that I'll ever see anything like that. A guy that I really thought wasn't going to do this anymore and do it at a very high level this year.
Yeah, I never questioned it. You can't. I'm not a guy that's going to question somebody's worth, and that to me is questioning their worth. When they tell you they're going to do something, I expect them to do it until they prove me wrong, right or wrong.
But you saw him going through the grueling part of it, and you know how bad the injury was. And unlike me, who you could put yourself in that position and say, that could happen to me. It could happen to me twice. And then what would happen? What would my wife think? What would my family think? What would my agent think? What did the team think? I mean, I was almost a little shocked the Ravens gave him a chance to come back with you and Max and the guys they drafted, right?
They paid him. So, yeah, I guess they would give him.
Understood, but I didn't think he was in the plan at all. And if you would have said to me even August 1st that we'd be sitting here in February and him having the kind of productivity and him playing the way he did and getting on the field, a lot of things had to happen. I mean, they brought Ben in last year. I mean, I don't know that he was ever really near the top of the chart. He wound up being the guy that played this year. Really, you can't script this stuff, right?
No. That's what it's football.
Man, a few words. I thought you'd be more fun to interview than this, man. I thought you'd be like giving me a hard time.
You have to give me a good question.
You're not. Thank you, John.
What would be a good question? What would you?
Yeah,
what do you want to talk about?
I'm not doing your job. I'm just saying you have to. If you give me a good question, I'll feed into it.
I'm done. I don't have any good questions.
What part of your game do you want to improve the most going into your fourth season?
I don't want to come off the field.
So you want to be,
all down,
every down, 3 down, yeah.
And the guy. There's no reason I shouldn't be. There's no reason I can't be. That's great. We have 9 tight ends. They're going to enjoy the bench. That's just reality. And I'll tell them. They know.
And they would tell you that.
No.
And then there was silence.
That's a drop the mic comment there. It is. No, I mean,
I hope you have fun down here.
I do. Always have fun.
You know Houston well? You come here?
It's my first time.
Really? Okay. Well, it's big. It's nice out.
Yeah, it's
it
beautiful.
beats being in Baltimore.
The sun. There's a sun still. I didn't know that.
Well, we
you wouldn't know it from Baltimore in January.
January kind of went away. Have a good offseason, man.
I appreciate
Thanks for coming by and visiting with us. You can follow Crockett out on Twitter as well. He'll be back on the field every play.
Not coming off the field.
Not coming off.
Special teams?
I can do it.
Whatever it takes.
I'd rather not punt, so just give me the ball. It'll be fine.
As long as we don't have you kicking field goals. We don't need you for that.
No, we can go for 2. I'd rather not see Tucker either. He's annoying.
Well, because he's good. He really is good. None of you want to admit that.
I mean, if
really
he just wants to come out and take 1 step, that's cool. That's awesome. Proud of him.
No extra points, though. 2-point conversion.
2-point conversion.
All right.
2-point conversion.
Why wouldn't you? 2 points versus 1 point.
I think we're getting to the point where the studies are coming in now after a couple of years of this, of doing it versus not doing it. And it's kind of like I've read a lot of stuff that says you should never punt, right? Like if you went for it on 4, you're
giving yourself an extra opportunity to get a first down.
It's like going to,
I'd like to see the analytics or whatever you want to call them of getting the longer first downs. 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15. I know, we don't always get them, but I feel like when we do hold them to something long, I'm like, shit, they got it again.
I got to take a break. I'll see you around town.
All right.
He is a man of few words.
He's to the point.
I feel like I'm in a wrestling
interview. To the point. I like it.
I feel like I'm Vince McMahon in the 80s.
I feel like you're my teachers and professors my whole life. You need to give me more. You got the answer right. You gave me everything correctly, but I need more fluff. I'm like, why?
Because
answered
it's
the question.
radio. We do fluff here. It's what we do.
It's not what I do. I lift weights and eat meat.
And block guys
And
and,
drive
catch
a lot.
footballs.
And drive a lot.
And drive a lot. Crockett Gilmore, we're down here at Houston, Super Bowl 51. Luke is here. I am here. You can find us out in the Bayou Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day. We're here through game time. You can follow our journey out on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere else. We are WNST.net AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.